6 months ago, I started this YouTube channel with no real expectations, like no plans to grow, no certainty that anyone would even watch. And I didn't start this because I felt ready. I started this because I realized that I spent too long thinking about things rather than just doing them. And at the time, this was meant to be a hobby, a place for reflection, a place to organize thoughts that at the time were scattered in my head. And I didn't realize this when I started, but putting thoughts into words, saying them out loud week after week, it gives you this sense of clarity that you don't get when your thoughts, they stay internal. And that is one of the biggest benefits this commitment gave me. Before this, my opinions and values felt fluid, like easily influenced by new information, new perspectives, new beliefs. But when you're forced to structure your thoughts every week, something changes. You build a base, and instead of being pulled in every direction, you compare those new ideas to that base. And that in itself has been extremely grounding. Another thing that I didn't expect was how much this would challenge my need for validation. For a long time, before starting not just YouTube, but many other things, I was afraid of, what people might think. Like, afraid of being seen, afraid of being judged. And obviously starting this YouTube channel hasn't made that magically go away, but it has weakened it. And I think that's important, right? Because progress rarely comes from eliminating fear, it comes from acting despite the fear. And something I don't talk about much is time. My weeks are usually packed. Work during the day, other commitments at night, the gym, and then trying to protect whatever mental space is left. And on most weeks, this channel has to fit into those margins. Late nights, short weekends, and that mattered because it taught me that consistency isn't built in ideal conditions. It's built when you decide something matters, even when it's inconvenient. And something else shifted too, my relationship with self-discipline. Now, discipline isn't about becoming perfect. It's not about self-criticism or forcing yourself into this ideal version overnight. For me, discipline became a tool for being curious. Looking at my flaws without contempt, asking where my weak points are, what patterns pull me back, and why. And strangely, that's made me hate myself less, not more. This channel has also made my values harder to ignore. When you say things out loud, when you formalize what you believe, it becomes a lot harder to act against it without noticing. It almost creates this internal check. Now, I'm not perfect by any means, and I don't live by everything I talk about, but I'm a lot more aware now. And awareness changes the quality of your decisions. The most important thing that I realized is that this was never really about YouTube. Like, YouTube was just the container. The real thing that changed me was the act of starting something long enough for resistance to show up and then deciding not to walk away. This could have been anything. This could have been writing, this could have been training, this could have been learning a new skill. The outcome matters far less than the identity you build by staying. Now, this channel hasn't changed my life in dramatic ways, but it's done something far more important. It's made me respect myself a lot more. Because I started something and I stayed with it. So if there's anything I've learned this entire year, it's that you don't need a perfect plan to start something. All you need is a step taken consistently. And that in itself can change far more than you expect. So, thank you for listening as always. I hope everyone has a great year ahead. And I'll see you guys next week.